Great. Thank you so much, Bree, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you all for being here. I know you have 1 hour less of sleep, so I'm glad you all made it. And yeah, like Bree said, I am in Salem, Oregon. Oregon is on the west coast of the United States. It's just right above California. And it's in this beautiful valley where a lot of fruit and vegetables are grown. And it is somewhat similar to Chengdu in a lot of ways in terms of being such a fertile valley. So yes, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for Chinese Medicine Education, China Book Sydney, for hosting this class. I'm very glad to be back working with you all. I just find the students that Chinese Medicine Education attracts are very scholarly. They're great practitioners, so I'm really excited to be with you all today. And like Bree said, we'll have time for questions at the top of each hour, but if there is a specific question for a specific slide, you could just raise your hand, or like Bree said, type it in the chat so we can address it at that time. So yes, I'm very excited to be here to talk about destiny, Ming, and this is something that's very close to my heart. This is what I believe is the keystone of Chinese medicine. I really look at us as guides in helping people to find their path and to be able to walk their path with ease. So that's what I really see us doing as practitioners. We're helping someone to be present, to have their Shen fully present in their body, to have their body working well so they can do their destiny. And what we're going to be talking about in this class is how do we determine what someone's destiny is? How are we going to do that? And so the way I do it is I was taught by, like Bree said, I've studied with Lillian Pearl Bridges and also Master Zhongshan Wu. And both of them talked extensively about destiny and about how you can really understand someone's destiny. And we do that through 5-element diagnosis and also through facial diagnosis. So we'll talk about that extensively. I have many pictures for many examples, and we're going to work together on this to determine someone's destiny. And like Bree said, the more questions you ask, the more engagement there is, and it usually does end up getting more deeper into the material. So I encourage questions. And so we're going to go through a lot of aspects of Ming. We're going to talk generally about Ming, and then we're going to get into some of the 5-element aspects and then into the facial diagnosis. I also want to introduce stems and branches today as well. I believe I'll be teaching a course for Chinese Medicine Education in 2025 on stems and branches. And I just wanted to see how we can use that with destiny to show how we can really intertwine those two things. So yes, my goal is for you all to be able to utilize this in your practice next week, when you start treating patients, to be able to have this information accessible and to have enough working knowledge to really start playing with it in clinic and see how it works with your patients. Okay, so let's get started. First, a disclaimer. This is for informational purposes only. This is not to substitute medical diagnosis or treatment. And so we're going to talk about Ming. So let's just say we see this woman here. She walks into the clinic, and we can tell pretty quickly, and this is just to kind of give you an overall what we're going to be able to do by the end of this 3-hour class. So I'm just going to introduce this information right now. So this person's fire and metal, and I'll tell you why as we go through the class, why I determined that for her, but she's fire and metal. So what does that mean? Fiery is usually entertaining, it's bubbly, it's charismatic, and metal is really good with communication and with refining information. So for example, this woman could be really good as an entertainer in communications. That's just one example. It doesn't mean the only thing she could do. But what the interesting thing about Ming is that we're not going to say, oh, that's an astronaut, that's a news reporter, that's, a doctor. It's not that specific, but it's more to give you ideas of their talents and their abilities. And then you can see what their talents and abilities are, and then does it match the career path they're on or they want to go on? And this is how you can really help guide them. Let's say this person really wanted to, do something else. Maybe she wanted to work as a, big truck mechanic or something like that. She might not be the best fit for that because she doesn't have those more rougher qualities. That'd be more like maybe water or earth that would go with that. So she's not going to be as much into that direction. So anyways, we're going to look at these aspects and see how does that work for each person. It's not to say she can't work on trucks, but it's just that she really would benefit if she could be out in the, maybe being the person as the spokesperson for the repair shop, or someone who is coordinating with the different parts people or something like that. Someone who's going to be communicating with others. That's really a strength of hers. Now, we can also tell based on someone's 5-element makeup and their talents and abilities, also what they might have as challenges. Because she has a lot of fire, she could tend towards anxiety. And because she has a lot of metal, she might end up getting a bit of a cough. And I would say dry cough because that fire is going to burn the fluids. So that's just an example. It doesn't mean she will have this, but these are things that we're going to want to watch out for. So, for example, we could use the energy in the summer to really harmonize her fire, really bring out that fiery energy. Or even in a fiery year, like next year is going to be the year of the snake, which is a fire animal. It might be a really good year for her and a good year to help her even refine her fiery qualities. And then in the autumn, we would help nourish her fluids to protect her lungs. We're going to do that for everyone, but especially for her because she has a tendency where the metal can get a little bit exhausted and get dried out. So we could use that autumn time. So here in the United States, in the Western Hemisphere, we're just finishing up autumn. And, we saw a lot of people having coughs and shortness of breath and asthma. And there was actually a flare of COVID too. So that was going on. Now you all are getting ready to go into the springtime and finishing up springtime, going into summer. And so that is that whole energetic you could use for her with the fire elements. So for example, in June, we could use Heart 6, Kidney 7 to help her. Heart 6 would be a really nice one to help facilitate the movement of fire, and then Kidney 7 to nourish the fluid so she's not getting dried out. And then September, we could use Lung 3, Kidney 9, for example. Lung 3 is a very helpful point. It's a window of the sky point that helps someone really get into their body. So it's something that we could help her with on that. And then Kidney 9 is a great point. I don't know how often you all use this point, but Dr. Wong, I studied with Dr. Wong Ju-Yi for several years as well. And he talked about using Kidney 9 for cancer patients because it's the Qi cleft on the Yin Wei channel. And it really helps to clear out old toxins from the blood. And so you don't have to just use it for cancer, you can use it for other things too, but it would help her to make sure she's staying clear and the energy and the fluids to her lungs is clear. So, okay, we're going to be talking about Ming. We're going to talk about the aspects of knowing how you're on your path. There are actually things that Lillian talked about that would let you know, oh, you actually are on your journey and this is a correct way for you. And then how do we diagnose Ming?